In a galaxy ruled by logic, she was never meant to feel. Built without a heart, without dreams, Norel was born wrong. But when she sees a human man for the first time, something stirs inside her. Something forbidden. Now, hunted by her own creators, she risks everything to create a child with a soul. Will love bloom in a world that fears emotion? Or will they be erased before they ever feel alive? If you're new here, then please subscribe this channel and show thumbs up by liking the video. Now let's move to this wonderful story. In a quiet corner of the galaxy, far from human maps and far from human dreams, there was a cold silver planet called Selivar. Its sky was always dark, lit only by pale stars that never moved. On this planet lived the Veskari, a race not born, but made. They were grown in tall glass chambers filled with glowing blue light. Every Veskari had perfect skin, perfect bones, and a mind tuned to logic and silence. They did not laugh. They did not cry. They did not feel. To them, emotion was a failure. Joy was chaos. Sadness was a crack in the system. And love. Love was nonsense from another species. Norel was made like all the others. Her chamber opened on a day when 3 moons hung still in the sky. The creators scanned her eyes and bones. Everything was in order. But then something strange happened. When a warm breeze touched her skin, she did not look away like the others. She closed her eyes. She smiled. And that was the first sign. The creators watched her with concern. She asked strange questions, not about formulas or duty, but about color and sound. One day she looked up at the stars and whispered, "Why do they sing?" The room fell silent. No one answered. The stars did not sing. That was not in any code. There was no data to support it. Scientists ran deeper scans. They called in the high chamber. Norel's brain showed unusual waves, warm, soft pulses that didn't match anything in the database. She cried when she saw fire, and once she laughed when snow landed on her skin. Such reactions had no place in Selivar. They marked her as flawed. The elders gathered in the core dome, a circle of tall figures with silver eyes and slow voices. They looked at Norel's files, at the scans, at the reports. One of them finally spoke. "Perhaps," he said, "she lacks what humans call a soul." The others nodded slowly. A soul. A strange word from a strange people. Humans believed in it. They spoke of it in stories, in music, in the way they raised their children. No Veskari had ever claimed to have one. Curiosity crept into the chamber like smoke. Ancient files were pulled from the archives. Logs from the first time the Veskari met humans. One file read, "Human children glow with a light we cannot study. It may be their soul." Another report described how human feelings could not be cloned or copied. Something inside them burned like fire, something no machine or chamber could create. Norel was sent to a place called the Dreaming Room. There she watched human art. She heard music with soft voices and strange rhythms. She saw pictures of oceans, stories about family, and once a video of a baby crying for its mother. Norel put a hand on her chest. She whispered, "I feel empty." She returned to the high chamber and knelt. Her voice was clear. "I want to make a child," she said. "A child with a soul. I want to know what it feels like to be full." The council froze. One elder narrowed his eyes. "With whom?" he asked. Norel looked up. "A human." Some elders laughed. Others looked away. But she did not smile. She was serious. Something inside her had changed, and in her eyes, there was something they had never seen before, something hot, alive, and deep. A kind of fire. A kind of hunger. That same week, a human envoy arrived on Selivar 9, a silver ship that floated near the planet's upper rings. It was the annual summit between the two species. Many humans came. Leaders, officers, guards, and translators. They spoke with open hands and hopeful voices. Among them was a man named Darren Vale. He was young and quiet, with deep brown eyes and a calm way of standing. He was not a leader. He didn't speak during the meetings. He just watched and listened. Norelle noticed him on the first day. She stood in the back of the council hall, her silver hair pulled back, her body still. But inside something stirred. When Darren looked her way, her chest tightened. Not in fear, not in confusion. It was something else. Something she had no word. For later that night, in front of the council, she pointed at his image on the screen. "Him," she said. "I choose him." Guards moved quickly. Darren was taken by surprise. He raised his hands, tried to speak, but no one answered. They led him to a white room without windows or clocks. The walls glowed faint blue and the air smelled like cold metal. "What is this?" he asked. "Where am I?" Norelle entered the room slowly. She wore a soft robe that shimmered like moonlight. Her steps made no sound. Darren stepped back. "Who are you?" he asked. "I am Norelle," she said. "You have something I need." His eyebrows lifted. "What do you mean?" She took a breath. "You have a soul." Darren stared at her. "A soul? Is this a joke?" "I want to make a child." "With you," she said, her voice soft. "A human child, one with a soul, and I will feel it. I will feel everything." He blinked. "You're serious?" "Yes. This is insane." She stepped closer. "Please. I don't want power. I don't want control. I just want to feel, to be real." He shook his head. "I'm not a test subject." Outside the room, the council watched through the wall. One elder leaned forward. "If she fails," he said, "we end it. No more talk of souls, no more experiments." Inside, Norelle sat down on the floor. Her robe pooled around her. Darren stayed standing, arms crossed. His eyes locked on hers, and something shifted. He looked closer. She didn't look dangerous. She didn't look fake. She looked lost. Like someone floating in silence. "You think a baby will fix you?" he asked. "Not fix," she said. "Complete," he sighed. "You don't even know me. But when I saw you," she whispered, "my chest hurt. That never happened before." Darren slowly sat down. And so it began. Not with love. Not with science. But with a girl who felt empty. And a man who didn't know he was about to change. Everything. The sky above Selivar 9 was still, filled with stars that blinked like slow thoughts. Inside the council station, Norelle stood at the edge of a tall observation platform. Her hands rested on the cold rail, and her eyes followed a small transport ship as it docked. The humans had arrived. It was the first day of the Great Summit, and the Veskari leaders were preparing speeches. But Norelle was not thinking about politics. She was waiting for something different, something she could not explain in words. Her chest felt strange again, the way it did when she watched the human baby cry on screen. But now the feeling was sharper, deeper. She turned as the lift opened. Tall guards in black armor stepped aside, and the humans walked through in careful lines. They looked around with calm curiosity. Most of them were older, dressed in polished uniforms. Then, at the back of the group, she saw him again. The one from the records. The one with the quiet eyes. Darren Vale. Norelle's fingers curled slightly on the railing. Her breath caught for a moment. She didn't understand why. His steps were not loud, his face was not smiling, and yet something inside her moved when he entered the room. She didn't know his name then. Not yet. But her mind already whispered, he is the one. Later that day, in the private council chamber, Norelle spoke without asking for permission. She stood and said 3 simple words. I choose him. The room went still. One elder blinked. You choose a human? Norelle nodded once. Her voice did not shake. The one who does not speak. The one who listens. Another counselor laughed under his breath. You think silence means soul? But Norelle did not respond. She just stared ahead. And the council knew she was not joking. The order was given. Not harshly, not with violence. The Vescari believed in quiet actions. Darren Vale was gently removed from his room by guards dressed in silver robes. He didn't fight. He asked questions, but no answers came. He was led through twisting halls with glowing floors, then into a white room with no corners and no clocks. He stood alone for a few minutes. The silence pressed on him like a blanket. He felt like he was inside a dream he couldn't wake from. Then the door opened again, and Norelle stepped inside. Her feet made no sound on the floor. She wore a thin robe made of soft light. Her hair fell over her shoulders like melted moonlight. Darren took a step back. "What is this?" he asked. "Where am I?" Norelle did not answer right away. She studied his face. He looked tired, not scared, just tired, like someone who had been carrying too much for too long. Finally, she said, "You are safe." He frowned. "That doesn't answer my question." She nodded. "You are here because you are different." He crossed his arms. "What do you want?" She stepped closer. Just one step. "You have something I need." "What?" "A soul." Darren stared at her like she had spoken a word from a storybook. "You think I have a soul?" "Yes," she said. He laughed once, short and dry. "And you don't?" "No," she said, softly. "I was made, not born. They say I am missing something. I believe you have it." He took a breath and stepped back again. "And what do you want from me?" Her voice lowered. "I want to make a child with you. One who has both our shapes, but with your light." He blinked. "You're serious?" "Yes." He shook his head. "This is crazy." She did not move. She only said, "I feel nothing when others speak. But when you walked into that room, my chest changed. Something stirred. I don't know what it is, but I want to know. And you think a child is the way?" "Not just the child," she said. "The act, the bond, the sharing. You feel things, don't you? When you saw the frozen bodies in the museum. When you watched the fire spin in the storm chamber. Your face changed. You felt something. I want to understand that." Darren sat down on the edge of the bed behind him. He rubbed his hands together, thinking hard. You can't just take pieces from someone to build a soul. "I won't take," she said. "I will join." He looked at her again. Not like an alien, not like a stranger. He looked like a man trying to understand someone lost. "Have you ever touched someone before?" he asked. She shook her head. "Have you ever been held?" "No." He sighed. "Then how do you know you're missing anything?" Her voice grew quieter. "Because when I am alone, I feel cold inside. Not from the air, from the silence. Something inside me calls for a sound I have never heard." Darren leaned back and looked at the ceiling. It glowed softly like moonlight through water. "This isn't what I thought this trip would be." Norelle tilted her head. "Do you hate me?" He looked back at her. "No, I don't hate you." She stepped closer. "Then help me." "Not like this," he said. "Not as a project, not as a science test." She nodded. "Then tell me what it means to feel. Show me your world. Let me learn, not from files, not from silent pictures, from you." He stood up. "And if I say no?" She didn't answer right away, then she whispered, "Then I remain empty, and your people leave, and my people forget, and we try again in another 100 years. Maybe." With less kindness, he looked away. "You're not threatening me, are you?" "No. I'm just asking." He looked at her face. Her silver eyes were not cold. They were tired, just like his. And for a second, he saw her not as a Vescari, not as a lab-born mind, but as a person. Incomplete. Reaching. "You really believe this?" he asked. "I don't know what belief feels like," she replied, "but I know what hope tastes like. And I think this is it." He nodded slowly. "You'll have to prove to me you mean it." "I will try," she said. with everything I have. And so, in a room without clocks, on a planet with no warmth, a human heartbeat was chosen, not by force, not by fate, but by the quiet voice of someone born wrong, reaching for something she had never known. The room where Norel and Darren met was quiet, almost too quiet. There was no hum of machines, no sound of footsteps outside. The walls glowed with a soft blue light that never changed. Time didn't seem to move here. Darren sat on one end of a long bench, his hands resting on his knees. Norel sat on the floor, cross-legged, her silver hair falling over her shoulders like liquid light. They had not spoken for a while. Darren finally broke the silence. "This still feels like a trap," he said. "Even if you say it's not." Norel didn't answer right away. Her fingers traced the floor, as if following invisible lines. "I don't blame you," she said softly. "Your kind builds trust with time. We don't have time here." He looked at her. "What are you hoping will happen between us? You want me to say yes, and then what? You think a child will make you feel real?" She looked up, her eyes filled with something close to sorrow. "Not make me real?" she whispered. "Just less empty." "You don't even know what being a parent means," he said. "It's not about filling a hole. It's about giving everything, even when you're tired, even when you're scared." "Then teach me," she replied. Darren stared at her. "You don't get it. This isn't a lesson. It's life. It's messy and painful and beautiful all at once. No one teaches you how to feel. You just do." "But I don't," Norel said. "I don't feel like you do. Not fully. I have pieces, glimpses. But they vanish too fast. I want more. I want to understand what it means when a human cries not from pain but from joy, or when someone sings and feels stronger. I want to know why holding someone can fix a broken day." He was quiet again. Her words were strange, but not false. He believed she wanted to learn. But part of him still feared what might happen if she failed. "Has this been tried before?" he asked. Norel hesitated. Her eyes dropped to the floor. "Yes," she said. "A long time ago. A male Viscari and a human woman. They tried to make a child." "What happened?" Her voice grew even softer. "The child didn't survive." Darren felt his stomach tighten. "Why not?" they said. "It lacked balance. Its mind didn't connect right. It collapsed after a few days." "And what did your people do?" "They studied it." "You mean they cut it open?" he said bitterly. She didn't reply. She didn't have to. The silence was an answer by itself. He stood up and walked to the far wall, placing both hands against the smooth surface. "And you want me to help you try again? Knowing that?" "I would never let them hurt it," she said. He turned to face her. "How? They control you. You follow their orders." "Not this time," she said. "Not with this. You think they'll just let you walk away? They don't understand what I feel. They don't believe I have anything worth guarding. But I do. If you help me, I will protect it." He walked slowly back toward her. "You can't promise that." "No," she agreed. "But I can swear it." He looked into her eyes. They didn't flicker like human eyes. They held steady, glowing like soft stars. "And what if they come for it?" he asked. "What if they come for you?" "Then I will run," she said. "I will fight if I must. You're not a soldier." "No," she said. "I'm something they never planned for." He sat down again, a little closer this time. "If I agree to this, we do it on my terms." Her breath caught. "What are your terms?" "We raise the child together. It's not a test subject, not a case file. We teach it love. We show it both our ways. No labs, no scans, no cages." "Yes," she said. "You swear?" "Yes." He looked at her. "And you protect it no matter what, even if your people want to take it." "I will protect it," she said. "Even from them. Even from myself." He nodded. "Then you swear it to yourself. Not to me. Not to this council. Say it out loud." that the child is not a tool, it's ours. She stood slowly. Her robe flowed behind her like a quiet wave. She placed a hand over her chest and said, "The child is not a tool. It will not be studied. It will not be broken. It will be raised in light and warmth, with hands that hold and hearts that try." Darren closed his eyes. Something inside him shifted. The fear didn't vanish, but it made space for something else, not trust, not yet, but something like hope. When he opened his eyes again, she was standing very close. "Thank you," she whispered. He didn't smile, but he nodded. "We're not there yet." "I know," she said, "but we're not alone anymore." Outside, the glowing room, the council still watched. Some took notes. Others stared in silence. The lead elder turned away and said nothing. But deep within the walls of SciFiLover 9, something had begun. Not a treaty. Not a war. Not even love. Just two voices, one lost, one tired, trying to find something they didn't have names for. And somewhere, in the echoes of past mistakes, a different future started to breathe. The stars above SciFiLover shimmered like frozen tears, silent and cold. Deep inside the ship's private chamber, Norelle stood near a small window, her hand pressed to the glass. Outside, space stretched forever, black and endless. Yet inside her, something small had begun to grow. It was not fear, not data, not code. It was a rhythm. Soft, steady, new. She turned as Darren entered the room. His face looked tired, but his eyes held a calm she hadn't seen before. "Are you all right?" he asked gently. She nodded. "I felt something last night, like a heartbeat, not mine, not yours, something in between." Darren came closer. "You're sure?" "Yes," she whispered. "It's small, but it's there." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The silence was not empty anymore. It was full of meaning, of tension, of beginnings. The Vescari Council had not responded since their last conversation. Norelle had not returned to their tower. She stayed in the human quarters now, surrounded by soft voices and warm lights. They didn't trust her yet, and she didn't blame them. But she had chosen her place, and Darren had chosen to stand beside her. Still, danger was close. Late that night, the warning came. A message sent in silence, hidden in a line of code. "Council has ordered recovery. Child must be secured. Norelle is to be detained if resistance is shown." Darren read it first. He showed it to her with shaking hands. "They're coming," he said. "They'll take you. They'll take it." Norelle stepped back, her hand moving to her stomach. "No," she said. "They can't." "We have to leave," he said. "We can't protect you here." Norelle nodded. "There's a place," she said. "A research moon. Abandoned. It has shields. Old, but strong. We can hide there." Darren didn't ask how she knew about it. He just started packing. They left the ship in silence, guided by a human pilot who owed Darren a favor. As the small craft pulled away from SciFiLover 9, Norelle looked back once. The stars behind the station glowed cold, but she no longer feared them. The moon they landed on had no name, just a code. V32. Its surface was gray and cracked, like the skin of something very old. Inside they found silence and dust, and one working room with power. It was enough. Weeks passed in quiet moments. Norelle learned how to cook simple meals. She learned how to tell stories, even if they didn't always make sense. Darren watched her laugh once, really laugh, and felt something sharp in his chest. He didn't know what it was. Maybe it was pride. Maybe it was hope. One night she woke him from sleep. Her voice trembled. "It moved," she said. "Inside me." It moved. He sat up fast. "Are you in pain?" "No," she said. "I'm afraid, but not of hurt, of change." He held her hand. "We'll go through it together," and they did. When the time came, it was not like the Vescary birth chambers with glass and wires. It was slow and painful, and very human. Norelle screamed. She cried. She clutched Darren's arms and said she couldn't do it. But he stayed. He whispered to her. He held her when she shook. And then the cry came. Small, broken, real. A child. Breathing. Glowing with soft light. A mix of silver and warmth. Norelle held it close. Her arms shook. Her face wet with tears. It's real, she whispered. I feel everything. Darren sat beside her. He touched the baby's hand. You did it, he said. We did. But it wasn't over yet. The sensors warned them. A ship was approaching. Fast, marked with the council seal. Norelle looked at Darren. They found us. We run again, he said. No, she said. We make them see. See what? That we are not broken. They stood at the entrance of the station, holding the child between them. The Vescari ship landed with no noise. 3 figures stepped out, elders in long cloaks. They looked at Norelle, then at the child. One of them spoke. Give it to us. Norelle stepped forward. No, you have disobeyed. I have lived, she said. I have learned. That was not your function. I am not a function anymore. The elder looked at the child. Is it stable? Darren stepped in front of them. It is a child, not a machine, not a sample. Its future may hold answers, the elder said. Then ask it when it can speak, Norelle replied. But you will not take it. You will not touch it. This child is ours. The elders did not move. Then, one of them, older than the rest, spoke. We will watch. We will not harm. For now. And then, they left. Norelle and Darren stood in the cold air for a long time, the child warm in their arms. The stars above were still silent. But inside her, Norelle felt them singing. She looked at Darren and smiled. They bloom, she said. What? The stars. When you feel love, they bloom. And for the first time, Darren saw the stars bloom too. Not with fire, but with meaning. A cold world had found warmth, and 2 lost voices had created something the universe could not explain. A soul, a choice, a child, and the beginning of something more.